Hello everyone! In this video, Scott elaborates on the process of building an organization, how he deals with uncertainty and risk in his own life, and how he did earlier on after graduating from college. And we talk about building an office environment that fosters creativity and productivity. Scott begins by explaining how he approached setbacks while building Harden Design and Development, the multi-million-dollar company which he co-founded that currently designs applications, mobile applications, for clients such as Mercedes-Benz, CNN, and the Chicago Tribune.
We've seen everything from high growth years to trying to figure out how to make your next payroll. Each one comes with its own challenges. There was a particularly scary moment 7 years ago where we had essentially a $12,000 payroll and about $8,000 in the bank account, trying to figure out how do we keep this whole thing afloat. Many years later, we've obviously matured in my co-founder myself, and also what our business model is, and now we are happy to say we've had 27% growth year over year.
Yeah.
So for our company, that's quite successful.
How do you deal with those moments where you're thinking, we might not make it, this might not survive? Did you ever have a moment where you lost faith?
Losing faith, I mean, you have to ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? So like literally right now, what is the worst thing that could happen to you?
Yeah.
And you start to answer that as saying like, well, I'm in decent health, I have a college degree, you know, any of the other luxuries, and at that time we didn't have any luxuries, so it was really easy to fail quickly, but to say like, all right, so if all of this was gone, what would happen tomorrow? And that sort of allows you to sleep at night. But the story of being an entrepreneur, you know, you get this side to it of entrepreneurship that it's this sexy concept. You know, you see the movie like The Social Network, and you're like, oh, what is entrepreneurship? Well, it's a little bit of cocaine and getting to stay up all night with friends and like partying out in the valley. And the reality is it's nothing like that. Like most entrepreneurship, it does not involve cocaine.
Surprise.
Yeah, I know. But it does involve, you know, very diligent individuals giving a lot of their time, their energy, putting their entire capacity behind an idea or concept. And the reality is many of them fail. Yeah. And even the more difficult side of it, you can have CEOs that you look at that you'll think are even having success in their own life or in their own business in reality, whether it's dealing, you know, at every single stage of a company that you have different issues that you're dealing with, whether it's a growth stage, whether it's finding capital, once you have capital, trying to appease investors, once you have the investors piece, trying to grow and sustain a business, there's always different levels of struggles.
Yeah. I had to ask Scott about the office environment at Harden Design and Development because it is really interesting in that it has an office keg, lots of video games, a ping pong table, and you'd think sort of in theory that might detract from productivity, but he says it's quite the opposite. It creates an environment where people are really excited and happy to come to work, and you know, in general, people are more productive while they're at work. So, you correct me if I'm wrong, but do you have a ping pong table and an office keg here?
We have a ping pong table.
Yes.
We have a keg. I believe it's something from Nuclearis that's on tap right now. It's a blonde ale. We have a pool table. We have probably every video game unit that you can imagine. Because the goal is to create an environment where everybody wants to come to work. So we have a very much a work hard, play hard mentality. We do have deadlines, we have customers to satisfy, but when we created the company, we wanted to create an ecosystem where literally everybody enjoyed what they were doing. And I think that was one of our driving principles, to create Harden Design and Development, and eventually the company that you're in, the offices you're in right now.
Scott also explains how important he feels it is to provide his employees with adequate benefits.
Every single employee, when they're 22 years old to as old of our oldest employee, everyone deserves to have health insurance that the company pays for 100%. Everybody deserves to have an IRA and a savings to look back on, because if you're saving from the time you're 22 to the time you're going to retire, that's going to make you, I think, more financially sound. These are principles that not every company needs to subscribe by, but we truly believe it's important, and it allows us to recruit the best talent.
Thank you very much for watching. As always, I will have my full conversation with Scott linked below, as well as links to my website, The Conversationalist, and social media.